Oh, God. It's that fucking Dr. Decker bullshit. I never remember to switch it back. God damn it. Well, that's another 14 minutes gone by. Damn it, man. That game sucks my ass. I hate repeating myself. Alright, well, I guess we'll just start over. My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. We're playing Monster Hunter World today, because I've been playing it for most of the week. We're using the gun lance. It's cool. Blah, blah, blah. Monster Hunter stuff. Oh, I talked about Monster Hunter and the Switch coming out in August, I think. And that should be interesting. Going back to the old style of Monster Hunter after playing World. What else? Well, anyways, 14 minutes to just repeat. God damn it. Fucking Dr. Decker. This week on this channel, we had Dr. Decker, Final Fantasy VIII. This coming week, we're going to finish both Let's Plays. There's about 3 videos left for each one. So we'll be done. I have the next game picked out after Dr. Decker. It's in a similar vein, but it's a short one. And there might be some bleed over where I upload the rest of that game and the start of Octopath Traveler, but overall it should be a pretty short game. Yeah, I know, Ren. That's really like the only saving grace of that entire game. Final Fantasy VIII will finish this week. We'll go into Final Fantasy IX then, of course, to no one's surprise. I'm thinking about doing an LP of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest on the Super Nintendo to just sort of upload after everything else. It's not really a Final Fantasy game, but it's a game that I spent a lot of time with as a child but never beat. So you won't see that for a while. Ooh, weakness exploit. This week on the Exploring series, we had the Elder Scrolls, Wheel Towers, and Kim. And I talked about how I had 2 different people call me a faggot for pronouncing it as Kim. So that was nice. The YouTube comments section, man. There's just nothing that prepares you for it. before you really, you know, become well known on YouTube. Nothing can like you can read YouTube comments as like a viewer, and you're like, wow, look, YouTube comments are just shit. But that doesn't prepare you for the constant barrage of retardation that you have to deal with every day. Because you either have to read no comments or you have to read every comment. You can't pick and choose. Unless you have somebody screening your comments, which would be great, but then you're basically just subjecting them to that same torture. There's just no prepare. I had a comment today that was like, oh, most of this video was really incorrect, but most of it was correct. And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Final Fantasy Tactics. Well, the problem with that is I played that and beat it like right before I started that whole thing, the whole playthrough. So I didn't want to play it again. But as time goes on, yeah, I might do a playthrough of that. I mean, well, there's a lot of grinding in that game, at least when I played, which I enjoyed. So I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how well it would work as an LP. Maybe down the line it'll happen. But Mystic Quest I've never beaten, and I'd like to beat, so. Plus, it's sort of just an oddball title. It's just an oddball game all around. I think most people are familiar with Final Fantasy Tactics, or at the very least that genre. Whereas Mystic Quest is just a little strange. Anyways. So this week I worked on The Cattle Raid of Cooley, which is a cool enough story. It's like the national epic of Ireland or something like that. It's a very well-known story in Ireland. But there's really almost no artwork of it, which is shocking to me. And the title is going to be a turnoff. I know it is. I just can't imagine many people clicking on a video with that title. But maybe I'm wrong. But it was decent. It turned out decently. But then halfway during the week, partway through the week, I was sitting down and suddenly I get an email from YouTube saying I have a copyright strike on my channel. And I was like, well, hopefully it's on this channel. Copyright claims, that pops up from time to time on both channels. Old videos just suddenly get copyright claims and things like that. But strikes, that's a big deal. Strikes are a big deal. As some of you well know, I've had to shuffle around channels in the past due to copyright strikes. Generally due to really retarded reasons, but either way. But no, it was a copyright strike on the Exploring series, which I have also happened before on an Exploring video. But that was a individual artist who basically just wanted to teach me a lesson. And it worked. I mean, I wasn't citing my artists, and he changed my mind on that one. And he was right. I really should. It was something I should have been doing. But this copyright was on the God of War Norse mythology video. And it was from a company called Norsk Corp. And I was like, well, this has got to be baloney. This is like some bullshit copyright strike or something. I don't know. And so I was about to like refute it You know, it was about to be like, this is ridiculous, fair use, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I don't even know this, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wait a minute, no, I should probably look into Norse Corp and see what they are. And so I looked it up, and there's some, I don't even know what they do. There's some sort of Viking organization of some type. I don't know what they do specifically. But one of the things that they do, or did, is they made or produced or whatever the word for, they paid for, whatever, a few pieces. I'm talking like 8 of Norse mythology artwork. And it was decent stuff. It was all like portraits and stuff. But one of them was of Balder. And it was a good picture of Balder. It was a good piece of artwork of Balder, of which there's almost none. And so that's, of course, the reason why I used it. It's because there's really not that much out there when discussing Balder. And so, yeah, I'd used this artwork of Balder in the God of War video. And it was owned by this company. And they found this God of War video. They saw this. They watched it. I can't imagine they watched it with the intention of looking for their artwork. But they're Viking fans, or so they must have just been watching it for whatever reason. They saw their artwork, and they're like, well, fuck this. Because I also don't think I credited them. Because I don't think I could find the artist. I think it was just like Norsk. It was like a company. I was like, I prefer crediting the artist. But, my bad. So anyways, yeah, so it was a copyright strike for that piece of artwork, which it's within their right, you know. If you produce an illustration and put it on the internet, you have a copyright on it. And so I'm like, well, I cannot fight this. I have no real legal basis here, so it doesn't really matter. The video got taken down. What's done is done. So I just quickly re-edited the video, used a different artwork of Balder, which was also decent. I don't know how I missed it the first time, but it was decent. Slapped that in there over the original one and re-rendered it and re-uploaded. The problem was, what took like an hour and a half was that when YouTube deletes a video because of a strike, they delete everything. Every record of it, which was a bummer because in the description of the video I have all the lists of the artists that I used, which would have been really nice to just copy paste and be done with it. But no, I had to track down and go and do all the artists again and find them all, and just, which I haven't done in a while for that video, so it was kind of a pain in the ass. But okay, I re-uploaded that, and then I was like, well, did I use this artwork anywhere else? Because it's rare that I use a piece of artwork once. Especially when there's not a whole lot of it to speak of. And so, sure enough, I used it in both the Loki video and the Ragnarok video. Because, of course. And so I'm like, okay, well, if they actually go through all my Norse videos, and they are vindictive about this, they could slap me with 3 copyright strikes. Which, as you well know, 3 strikes and you're out. And so basically, if you get 3 strikes, YouTube might terminate your channel. They say that, you know, this might result in channel termination or something. And I was like, I don't know if they would just smash the ban hammer down on a channel with 150,000 subs, but they might. They could, and I was like, I don't want to take that risk. This would be a perfect storm of shit. So I decided to preemptively take down the Ragnarok video, re-edit it, and re-upload it. Because then at least, you know, if they hit Loki, okay, then I'm at 2. that's livable. And this way I can at least copy paste the description and I'd save myself a bunch of work. So that's what I did. And at this point, they have not gone after the Loki video, which is still using their piece of art. The only difference with that one is that I cropped the picture a little bit differently so that it actually shows the words Norsk.com like in the bottom of the picture for whatever reason. And so maybe that's livable for them, or more likely they just haven't noticed it. Who's to say? So as it stands, I should be safe. The only way I really get screwed is within the next 3 months. They look at the Loki video and some other bullshit crops up to give me a third strike. But since I go so long without a strike, I think it's pretty unlikely to happen in the next 3 months. So I'm probably fine. But it was just like, you know, when I got the strike, I'm just sitting there like, oh god, this is just bullshit. Like, this is my job, and oh god, and it's just like, I mean, yeah, technically, yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of ground to stand on. I mean, fair use and all that is just so hazy. You know, it is these people's artwork, and yeah, I don't ask for permission just because that would be not only an insane amount of effort, 95% of the time they would never respond anyways. Because these people just don't look at these things that often. And the type of person that would say no would just be the type of person, I don't know, it's just, I've gone with the philosophy of it's better to just beg for forgiveness than ask for permission, which so far has worked out fine. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if I was really wanted to be, like, responsible, I would just do all my own artwork or commission all my own artwork. But unless you're working with, like, a team and, like, a dedicated artist, it's just not feasible. You know, I go through 20 pieces of artwork per video per week. To have a dedicated artist pump out 20 pieces of artwork per week, that would be insane. I'd have to have a whole fleet of them. So, you know, there's another lore channel called Civilization EX. It does a lot of Middle Earth stuff, Game of Thrones, Marvel, that kind of stuff. And I think it's a team. I think it's a group of people. And they do all their own artwork. And it's really not that great. It's almost like clip art, really. But they never have to worry about any sort of, you know, copyright claim or artist bullshit or anything like that. And they're doing just fine. They have more subs than I do, so I don't know. I just don't think that would be financially viable. For me to take on any other person for any reason would just not really be financially viable. So we'll stick with it for now until it all comes crashing down around my ears. Yeah, so that was a little bit of midweek fun. Like, really, honestly, if you're an artist, and you see me using some of your artwork, and I don't credit you, or I don't sufficiently credit you to your liking, rather than just saying, YouTube, this is bullshit, take this down, which would cause me to never go near your artwork again, which maybe that's what you want, but I feel like it would be far better for all parties involved if you just contact me and are like, hey, you're not using my artwork properly, or I don't want you using my artwork, or whatever. I will pay you for your art. I will advertise your art. You know, I'll give you like a shout out if that's what you want. And you, like, I'll bring attention to you and your art, rather than just being like, no, this is bullshit, I hate you. I mean, I know all artists are different, but I feel like the point of creating art is for more people to see it. But what the hell do I know? The Templin Institute channel. No, I have not. What is it about? So anyways, so I think next week for the Exploring series, I'm working on, I want to say Finn McCool, which is going to be really hilarious to, like, if Finn McCool, that just sounds like the crappiest D&D character ever. You just have Mert showing up at my table with his human fighter, Finn McCool. I don't know. I don't know much of his story yet, so we'll see how it goes. He's one of the, aside from Cuchulainn, he's like the most famous hero in Ireland's mythology. So we'll see how it all works out. Yeah. Similar lore type channel. I'll take a glance at them. I mean, there's tons of lore channels out there. The thing that separates myself and a few others from most is branching out into all sorts of different types of lore, which is a risky proposition. You know, I often think, like, oh, if I had just made non-stop Middle-earth videos and just all sorts of what-if Middle-earth videos and every little nitty-gritty, I wonder how successful I'd be. I think I'd have a more loyal fan base. I'd have a loyal core group of more people that would watch every video I put out, which is, it's nice to have that sort of consistency, but I don't think I'd have as many subscribers. I mean, there's a limit to how many people are only interested in Middle-earth. Yeah. Anyways. I didn't play any board games this week. Oh, no, I did. On Monday, since we didn't have an RPG day, we played Millennium Blades. Which was good. I lost. That game is intense, man. Like, you sit down, here's like 20 cards. Okay, now build the best deck possible, and there's like 300 other cards to look at, and oh yeah, you only have 20 minutes. And there's just so many decisions to make in such a small amount of time, and it really just frazzles your mind. And so I had some sort of decent deck going on in the first tournament. Like, I got like second place in the tournament, but Thomas busted out this absolutely insane deck just blew everyone else out of the water because it was so good. And so I'm like, okay, going into this, I have to put some sort of sabotage element into my deck. Like, I have to hurt him a little bit. And that turned into sort of a full-blown sabotage, where that was my only focus. And despite all my efforts into sabotaging, he still won the game. And I got third place because all I focused on was sabotaging. So, that was a bummer. And then, you know, I don't know. It's a decent game. I like it. It's just not something I would play every week or even every month, maybe. It's just one of those once-in-a-while games where you can frazzle your brain a little bit. And then, of course, there was no RPG this week, which is a big bummer. Finally, we get back to it tomorrow. Hopefully. You never know. But we're all very excited about it. It's going to be great. I finished reading through Lexicon of the Throne. Had a couple character concepts. They have a Word of Vengeance now. So I can properly make Ovum if I chose. With, like, the words of vengeance, sword, and... I'm not sure what the third one would be. He's sort of like an Inquisitor. You know? So, I don't know. I want to pick a word that would allow him to, like... Maybe deception, just to, like, have the ability to discern if anyone is lying to him. Like, he wouldn't really use it to tell lies, because that's not his style, but he would be, like, the anti-deception, really. So, maybe that would be it. And he would, of course, be the champion of Artemis. He serves a higher power. So, I don't know if he would actually have a cult. I don't know how that would work. He's not really a free divinity, because he doesn't... Maybe that's what would be the best route. But he would want to build, like, the cult of Artemis. He'd want to build the cult of another god. I don't know. I guess Ziggy might say that that would give him dominion. I don't know. But I haven't played Ovum in quite a while, so that might be interesting. Another character concept was like... it's very half-baked. It was like... One of the words is entropy. Which is all about, like, the decay of all things. You know, everything degrades and decays over time. And so I thought, like, okay, how about a godbound, who thinks that he's, like, the eternal god of, like, decay and entropy, but he doesn't remember his time, or he doesn't remember his past as this god. He just believes that he is this god with, like, amnesia or something like that. But he believes that he's this, you know, omnipotent god of decay, but he doesn't have access to all of his powers. Something happened that he doesn't remember. Whether or not that actually happened, who's to say? You know, basically I want to play an insane character. And so then it's not really almost a connected idea, but I just had the idea and I thought, okay, I'll throw it in with that character. Is like, you know, the natural decay of things. It doesn't know... How do I even want to phrase that? Like, it has no allegiances. You know, it has no biases. And so it affects all things equally. And it is the the great balancer. You know, it's the great equalizer. Is this decay that happens to all things. And so I thought, like, again, I'm like, this is an insane person. This is not a healthy-minded character. But I thought about that character that would believe in the balance of all things to the point of, if he did an action against a guilty human being, he would also then have to do an equal action to an innocent human being in order to balance out his actions. Now, logically, this makes no sense, right? Because say a guy murders an innocent woman, and then this guy murders that guy as, like, punishment. He then has to go murder another innocent person, leaving 2 innocent people dead and 1 guilty person dead. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is an insane person. He's ignoring that first part. The only equalizer here is his own actions. Like, he has to balance out his own actions, regardless of what has already, you know, transpired. And I just thought it would be an interesting character that's very hesitant to act because he fully believes that he's going to have to do something bad to an innocent person in order to balance out his own actions. Yeah, like I said, this is half-baked. I don't know if this would ever actually work. And I don't know how well such a character would work at our table. If only because of the fact that he would be very hesitant to act. You know, he would be always very hesitant to do something aggressive towards a guilty party. And whenever I play a character that doesn't act much, things tend to fall apart. Like I said, I don't know if that'll ever happen. I looked at the entropy word, and that's what sort of spiraled into my mind. I don't know if it's reasonable, plausible, whatever. That's just what came to my head. So yeah. But, I mean, Tempest is still going strong. I'm going to try and keep Tempest alive as long as possible, so it's not like anything bad is going to happen to him. Just saying, just in case. But I'd probably go with Artemis anyways, because that was a pretty cool character concept, and I think it's better if I play a very proactive leader type. Yeah. I saw the new Jurassic World this week. It was fine. It was fine. I mean, both of those new Jurassic World movies, it's just like, you know, they're really trying to capture the same magic of the original, and it ends up just being a little bit hollow. Especially this one, there was just so many like callbacks to the original film and of the Lost World. Like, there were so many like homages bleeding into the direct like rip-offs of the original movies. Where it's like, hey, remember Jurassic Park? Look at this. I mean, it was fine. There was dinosaurs, and they were roaring, and some people died, and yeah, that's what it is. I kind of like the aspect of this. They went back to the horror roots a little bit. Because I remember when I was a kid and I saw Jurassic Park, like, it was scary. There was some scary shit in the original Jurassic Park. Um, like when she went into that sort of like underground tunnel power facility or whatever, and then like the dude's arm was just severed and like shit. It was like, oh my god. There was some scary stuff. And it was darker. It wasn't really a children's film. There were some darker aspects to it. And there was a bunch of that in the new Jurassic World. Where I'm watching parts of this and I was like, this is not a movie for kids. Like, there's some kind of freaky shit going on. And I like that. So that was pretty good. And Bryce Dallas Howard, of course. I mean, come on. There was a sequence with Chris Pratt where he really just went like hand-to-hand combat on a bunch of guys, like trained mercenaries, and suddenly he's just like beating them all down with his fists. And it was pretty cool, and I was like, wow, you know, Chris Pratt wouldn't be a bad choice for Nathan Drake. I know a lot of people want Nathan Fillion, but I mean, he's way too old at this point. Chris Pratt is at the prime. You know, he can crack the one-liners, the jokes, and you know, it's believable when he's beating up some dudes. So I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Pratt as Nathan Drake, but who knows if that movie will ever happen. So overall, it was fine, but there was one scene that bothered me for the rest of the film. Okay, so this little girl gets locked into a room, and most of the movie, or like the second half of the movie, takes place in like this big mansion, like this old school mansion. And so she gets locked into a room in this mansion, and the dude locks her in with like this old, like the old style metal keys, you know, like this big old metal key. So he locks her in there, and he leaves the key in the door. Deliberately, although I have no idea why. But he deliberately leaves the key in the door. And she gets out. She breaks out of the room by taking a coat hanger and pushing it through the lock to push the key out. And that opens the door. And so I spent the rest of that film thinking about how in the hell this would make sense. Like, with what I know about a normal lock, and you left the key in, and it just pushes out and that unlocks the door. Like, how does that make sense? How did it lock in the first place? Right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't be locked. Did he not lock the door and the girl just thought it was locked? Like, I don't think so. I'm just trying to... And how would she have pushed out the thing with a coat hanger? Why would there be a big enough hole on the other side to even do that? Like, I can't get over it. It bothered me so much. Nothing that I know about locks makes this make sense. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. So that pissed me off more than anything else. Yeah, there was not enough Jeff Goldblum in it. That's very true. I thought he would be in it more, but it was almost just a cameo. Practically a cameo. And quick spoilers for the ending. I mean, most people don't care, but... so at the end of the film... Well, you actually find out that the little girl in the film is actually a clone. This guy, the co-founder of Jurassic Park, cloned his daughter. Which is kind of wild. That it's like, yeah, people are making dinosaurs. Like, that technology is relevant to other species. And she's fully functional. I mean, she's a healthy girl. Like, nobody suspected she was a clone until it's revealed. Maybe she has special clone powers, and that's how she broke the lock or something. I don't know. But at the end of the movie, like, they've busted up this whole illegal dinosaur auction. And so all these dinosaurs are trapped in this, like, burning mansion. And Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, they're debating about letting the dinosaurs go free so they can survive rather than burn. Which is, of course, ridiculous. Like, you would never let these things go free in the wild of California. Like, that's going to result in way more loss of human life. Like, that's like a PETA decision. PETA would open that thing up immediately and let them roam free, but they're crazy. So they decided to not open the doors and let them burn. But the little girl, since she found out she's a clone, she has some sort of kinship with all these clone dinosaurs. And so she opens the doors herself. So all these dinosaurs rush out into the wilds of California. And so the ending montage shows, like, you know, the T-Rex breaking into the zoo and, like, roaring next to a lion and stuff, and all these dinosaurs just sort of roaming around California. And so the ending seems to imply that the next film is going to have dinosaurs just in the wild, which, as they set it up, didn't make any sense, because there was like one of each dinosaur. So it's not going to be a huge problem for the military to take out one T-Rex and one Velociraptor and one Brachiosaurus or whatever. Brontosaurus, I don't know. But they also showed, like, a briefcase. I don't even know who owns it, but it was like a briefcase that had all the DNA of the dinosaurs. So somebody's going to be making more dinosaurs, and I don't know why they would release them in the wild as well to reproduce. But my thought, like, during the movie, I was like, this is just a rehash of the same old plots and these cartoonish villains, and this is just getting ridiculous. They've really got to do something special for the next one. And so I thought, if the next Jurassic World was like 10, 15 years in the future, and dinosaurs had actually taken over the world, like, I thought that could be pretty cool. Sort of Planet of the Apes, but without them talking, and just dinosaurs ruling America. And, you know, like, the resistance against the dinosaurs. That's crazy enough that I would want to watch that. We'll see what they do, but if they just rehash the same shit, like, oh, we're on an island and there's dinosaurs and, oh, they're loose, and some sort of cartoonish guy is just like, let's weaponize the dinosaurs, and it's just, oh god. They need to do something cool with the plot, and I think that would be the way to go, and that seems to be what they're setting up, so we'll see. Alright, we'll wrap it up here. So check out the Cattle Raid of Cooley tomorrow on the Exploring series. Look past the strange title and just check out the video, or at least watch an ad or two. We got the rest of Final Fantasy VIII, the rest of Dr. Decker this week, the stunning conclusion to Dr. Decker. And we'll start up something new later on this week. But my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg, and I'll see you fine folks next week.